Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We intone these words at every graveside service. They remind us that we were formed out of the dust of the earth, and when we die, we return to the dust of the earth. These are the words to keep in mind today as we observe Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Christian faith begins with the simple observation that there is something deeply disordered with us and with the world. Call it sin, which is the traditional term for it, or call it whatever you like. The fact remains that the world is out of whack. The story in Scripture that highlights it is the story of Adam and Eve. I won't read the whole thing. You know it pretty well. God places Adam and Eve in a garden and gives them dominion over it, as a landowner would give control over a farm to a hired manager to work the land in his place. The only catch is that there is one tree whose fruit they're forbidden to eat. And of course, that's the one from which they choose to eat. God comes back into the garden and discovers their misdeed, and after they have made their excuses and sought to assign blame to everyone but themselves, including, by the way, even blaming God, God announces the consequence of their action. This is the part of the story I want to read from now. It is a portion of God's pronouncement, first to the serpent, then to the woman, and now this is what he says to the man. And to the man he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree about which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you shall return." Two important things to note for today. First, the curse is not just aimed at the man. It is a curse that extends even to the earth itself. "Cursed is the ground because of you," says God. "Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you." Now, it doesn't particularly matter whether you read this as a literal factual story or as a parable. The fact remains, there is something wrong with humankind and with the whole created order. The creation part of this even appears in one of our most beloved Christmas carols, Joy to the World, whose third stanza reads, "No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow, far as the curse is found." The curse includes the entire created order. The second thing to note for today is the final portion of this passage from Genesis. "By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you shall return." You are dust, and to dust you shall return. When we gather for worship this evening, folks will come forward, and one at a time one of the ministers will make the sign of the cross on their foreheads with ash, saying these very words. We say these words because they remind us that the story of God's grace is also the story of human sin. All the language we use about what Jesus Christ has done for us in his death and resurrection presuppose this stark reality of sin in our lives. To say it in blunt terms, the resurrection has no meaning if sin is not real. If we do not reflect on the reality of sin, grace has no meaning. And if grace has no meaning, where is the gratitude we give back to God? It all begins with these simple words, "You are dust, and to dust you shall return." Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.